What's going on, girl?
Not much. I haven't talked to you since 2020.
No way. It was that long ago?
It was that long ago. We were in the thick of it.
My God. I remember our conversation, and I was going to go back, and I was sometimes with a returning guest, I'm like, she's, for the audience, check out episodes X, Y, and Z. And I just didn't have time to do that. It's not necessary really to do that because people can just search for you on there. But I can't believe that it was 2020. If I had to guess, I would have thought maybe a year ago.
No, it's going by really fast. Like time, I feel like isn't fast forward. Oh. I can't believe that it's been 3 years since I talked to you, and it just goes by. It's like weeks feel like, I don't know, days feel like weeks or whatever, or the other way around. Weeks feel like days.
Well, they've always warned me when I was young that time was going to speed up as I got older, and it definitely feels that way. That we're planning things out 6 months, and it's like when you're in your 20s, you don't think that way, right? You don't think, you're like 6 months from now, I don't even know where I'm going to live 6 months from now, much less like plan my Saturday.
Absolutely. I can totally relate to that. I plan everything, and it's just crazy. It does go by so quick the older you get.
So, I've noticed what you're doing, and by the way, we're in the episode right now. Normally I count you down, but we're just in the episode right now. So I've noticed what you're doing, but before we talk about that, let me introduce you for the listeners who maybe don't know you or didn't hear you on the first 2 episodes that you had with the Hair Again podcast that they now know is from 2020. You are a Connecticut hairdresser and salon owner. You're an independent salon business educator, founder of the Mastermind Group, and creator of this series of live education that you're doing right now called the Hairstylist Hustle, right?
Yes, it's brand new. We just launched everything yesterday.
Oh, super cool. Okay, I didn't know that it was breaking news, so we'll definitely talk about that.
It's breaking news.
Global director of hair color with Rusk, and you've got a podcast called the Gina Bianca podcast. So you've got your hands full.
Yeah, I have a lot going on. I don't recommend it.
So many different things. And it's so funny. Is this just endemic in our industry where like there's a subset of hairdressers who just go crazy and do like 47 things all at the same time?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the opportunity when you have your cosmetology license, people don't realize like how much you can do if you're motivated and if you have a vision. And, I just am always coming up with ideas and I'm like, we should do this. And then, I'll start it and then it just takes over. And, that's kind of happened with a lot of the things that I do. Like the podcast, I was like, it can't be that hard to start a podcast. I'm going to start a podcast. So I just started it. And now we do episodes almost every Monday. I'm on vacation right now. Sometimes I just need a break because I'm like, I just need a break. I just mean from the podcast. I'm not on vacation.
Got it. You're taking
sometimes
hiatus from the podcast. I totally understand because those weeks come very quickly.
Oh yeah. And I honestly I do the best with my podcast when I'm like on a whim. If I have to plan it too much, it's just like right. I don't like them. So I do the best when I'm on a whim. And lately I've been traveling. So I just did a tour for the last 3 months. I did 15 cities for my master class where I did hair and business. And yesterday was my last class for this tour. And we launched the fall tour. And over the past month, I've been traveling every single weekend. So I was like, podcast has to take a sideline real quick because it just gets to be a lot. And, I love to do it. It makes a huge impact. I didn't realize how big of an impact a podcast could have on people, and I'm sure you hear this a lot. Like people will be like, I get so much from your podcast or thank you for doing this. And I was like a little shook, at my class, people were like, your podcast changed my life. And I was like, you listen to my podcast? I still can't believe that people listen, so it's super cool.
The very interesting thing about a podcast is that, and I sometimes say this, so maybe I'm apologizing to my listeners if they have to hear me say it again, but it's this very interesting thing where you're sitting here with a microphone and you create some audio, you put it out there, and you oftentimes have zero feedback for a period of time. Of course, depending on like when I go on Instagram, and I just admittedly, I just don't go on Instagram as much as I used to, because it's just a rabbit hole of time. My time just disappears, when I go on. And so I don't get the feedback, or a podcast host doesn't get the feedback the way that, of course, you do in a live sort of situation where you see people's eyes and you recognize what they're absorbing and what is helpful for them. Podcast is not that way. And then, like you mentioned, now and then somebody will say something. Or I was at a hair show, I think the hair show a couple weeks ago here in LA, and somebody heard my voice. And they're like, "Oh, are you Eric Taylor?" Yes. And I listen to your voice. And amazing. Like, how amazing is that? That they know me by my voice only. And so, yeah, so you bring up something that's very unique, I think, to podcasts. Maybe not unique to radio, which goes back hundreds of years, maybe 100 years. But it's something that is unique, certainly, for us.
Yeah, and it's like, I agree with you. You don't get that instant feedback. Like, I post a video on Instagram, I can tell how it's doing by the analytics, right? I know if it's good or if people like it or how they respond to it. With podcasts, it's like, I only know if episode is good if people are sharing it.
Yeah.
That's the only way I know if it's like good. It can get like as many downloads as whatever, but I only think it's good if people share it with others. Like if I see people like tagging me and sharing it. So sure. It's weird. I wish you could have people like an episode or something.
I know. So, and you don't even know, well, you see when it's shared on Instagram, but just because it's shared doesn't mean that any of the recipients of that thing actually click on it and listen to it. So all we have in the podcast world, and the listeners probably don't know this, but all we have in the podcast world is wherever we host the audio file, there's a couple audiophile podcast hosts out there, you see a number, which is a downloads number. And they've gotten better at making sure that those are actual downloads. The last couple of years, they've changed some of the standards, but that's it. And then you see a few things on Instagram or whatever. I get some DMs, but I really don't get that many DMs anymore. Our downloads have gone up, but just not as many people are reaching out, or maybe I'm just not paying enough attention to the DMs. But it's a very interesting thing to do, and we keep doing it because people keep listening, and so as long as there's growing downloads, we're going to keep doing it. But oftentimes it feels like I'm the video gamer in my parents' basement by myself.
I can relate to that.
Okay, so we did not come on here to talk about podcasts, which is very meta, by the way. We came on here to talk about AI. So I've introduced you. Listeners, we had 2 episodes with Gina going back to 2020, 2 episodes back to back. So if you want to get more details about who she is and where she's been and how she's gotten to be Gina, you can go back and listen to those. But right now we're going to talk about artificial intelligence. This is something you brought up to us as something you wanted to talk about, and we immediately said, amazing, we'd love to talk about that. So I'm just going to throw you the ball. Where do you want to begin with this conversation?
Yeah, so over the past couple of weeks, I've been obsessing over AI. I've been obsessing over it. And I know there's a lot of different schools of thought on it. I know a lot of people think it's like the end of humanity as we know it. A lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about AI. And if you're on TikTok or, if you're on Instagram, you might see some AI generated content that might make you feel weird. Like they've got Kanye West singing WAP. Like they've got his voice singing WAP. They've got Ariana Grande singing all different songs. And they're able to take this AI generated content and put it out there. And I think there's going to be a lot of regulations and restrictions on it as far as protecting art. I think that that's really important. And that's kind of where I stand on all of that, because I do believe that I wouldn't want my voice being used by somebody else. So there's a lot of pros and cons to it, right? So I wanted to come on and talk to you about AI for hairstylists and, the beauty industry because, this new technology, I feel like we're kind of at a turning point and it's almost leveling the playing field again, the way that social media did for hairstylists. Back in 2009, 2010, I feel like that's kind of when social media started to like really pick up. And that's when I started my career. I graduated school in 2009. And I felt like I was at a major advantage. Like I was able to reach so many people and I was able to build my clientele so quickly. And I was one of the first people in my area to like really harness social media to grow as a hairstylist. I was going live on Instagram when the pixels were like insane. Not Instagram, Facebook. I was like using it to build my business, and I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for that technology. I just wouldn't have reached the people that I reach. It just wouldn't have happened for me. Maybe, but before that you had to have a lot of money to get on TV and to have an agent and to have like this exposure, and social media kind of leveled the playing field and gave everyone a chance to be a star, right? So today I have this like feeling that the playing field has been leveled again. I just feel like life will never be the same after this technology has become available to so many people, and life will go on as it does. But there's like this amazing tool available to you that I want to talk about today, which is ChatGPT, and you've probably seen it. People talking about it on social media, and a lot of educators posting about it, a lot of people becoming experts about it overnight. You'll see a lot of buzz about it, right? And I've been kind of studying it and I've been using it, and I didn't want to share anything about it until I kind of knew at least a little bit about it. Yeah. But I wanted to share with your audience some ways that I've been using it and some advice to using it. I'd also like to talk about, what some naysayers have said about it and almost kind of like play devil's advocate there. And, I have a list that I wrote out, for your audience about ways you can use it as a stylist, salon owner, and as an educator or a content creator. So I'd love to just share that with all of them.
Absolutely. Before we get into it, though, let's define for any listeners who maybe don't know what ChatGPT is, and I'm guessing a majority do, but maybe there's some who don't. Okay, so there's this company called OpenAI. And, it's a private company. It's funded by a lot of the big tech guys, including Elon Musk and a lot of them that you might assume. And GPT stands for, let's see, I looked it up, generative, what is it? Do you know off the top of your head? GPT, no. Generative Pre-trained Transformer. That's the GPT, Generative Pre-trained Transformer, which means nothing to any of us, but really I'm just saying it because somebody might be asking. And do you know essentially how it works?
So from what I gather, because I'm not an expert on the inner workings of it, I have been using it regularly for the past like 3 or 4 weeks, and I wanted to just share kind of ways that it's been helping me out. Okay. And maybe ways that people can use it. But from what I understand, it's an AI language model. You could input your prompt into it and it will spit back based on whatever prompt you're giving it. So the more specific your prompt is, the better your answers will be.
Right. Okay. So Google is what we're all used to, right? When we Google search something, what Google does is Google has mapped out the internet, and Google's kind of coding system has mapped out how websites link to each other and the information that's on the websites, and then it gives you what they think are the most relevant links on a page, right? And then it's up to you, the user of Google, to click on one of those links in the hopes that you're going to find what you want. ChatGPT works a lot differently. So what ChatGPT has done is they've also kind of mapped out the internet as much as they can. And of course, this is very early technology. And they, by the way, admit that I think it's technically even in the beta phase. They have all this information that they have mined from the internet, and they've categorized it. And so when you give it a query, a search inquiry of some kind, and like you said very accurately, the better it is, the better response you're going to get. They take your inquiry, and then they take all the information that they've gathered from the internet and kind of put together the most relevant bits of it, and then they just give that to you. So instead of getting 15 links on the first page of Google, and then you can scroll the next 37,000 pages of Google for other links, they give you one response. Right?
Yes, and you can always regenerate the response if you don't like it.
Yep.
Which is cool. Like they have just a button that just says regenerate. So if you're looking for something else, or if you're looking for it set a different way or something like that, it will give you multiple responses.
And it's not from one source is kind of the main difference between Google and ChatGPT. It's not from one source. It's probably from a lot of sources, maybe 50% from one source and then some other stuff but they don't tell you what the sources are, which is by the way, some of the some of the naysayers say that that's bad. I don't know if it's bad or not. Okay, so now that we've kind of defined what it is for anyone who doesn't know, go ahead. How have you been using it?
So I've been using it, like you said in the beginning of the episode, I've got a lot of things going on in my life and in my business, and there's so much that I want to do, and it would be amazing if there were like 3 of me to like get things done. And I have just found that it just buys back so much of my time. I can't believe it's free, honestly. And I always go back to that saying that if something is free, then you're the product. So I kind of have that like in my head.
Sure.
So like I get that.
Well,
I feel like I have
Google and so much
Google,
of what's on the internet.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Like if it's free, then you're the product, right? So I have that kind of viewpoint on it. I think that the most amazing thing that I did with it, and this is, not the most, I've done a lot with it so far. I'll give you some examples. I work with Rusk. They asked me, what dates do you have available for the rest of the year? So I asked ChatGPT, please generate me a list of remaining dates starting in July, exclude Saturdays, exclude Wednesdays, and exclude these dates. Put it in this format and make sure it's easy to copy paste into a spreadsheet. Boom.
And so that was the entire inquiry. So you wrote all those words.
Yes, I wrote exactly what I wanted it to do. And then, I started with, give me a list of dates starting in July to November, exclude holidays and 7 days around them. Like I started there, and then I just made my search better and better and better. And then sometimes it doesn't listen, and I'm just like, no, input it this way. And it's like, I'm sorry for confusing. And I'm just like, you better be.
That's right. I'm paying so much.
And it can't get mad at you. It can't get mad at you. So, You know what I think is really cool? I think it's really cool that like a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, they might have this like crazy vision in their head, and like they expect everyone to read their mind. And ChatGPT can put your crazy ass brain into a concise paragraph. So I don't know. But, that was one thing. And I was able to give them a whole list of my dates. And then I took the dates, I cross-checked it with my calendar, deleted anything that wasn't there, because I do believe it's not a copy-paste type of deal. Like you have to customize it.
Yes.
But I was able to submit a spreadsheet. I was able to send it right over. It took me about 15 minutes. And I was just like, wow, I feel like this would have taken me a lot longer, and I probably wouldn't have been as accurate if I did it. And it was very neatly presented. And I was just like very professional. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm working with a company. I want to look professional, right? And it was just very nice and polished. And typically I would be like, hey, blah, 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 blah. Here are my dates, but not these ones. Like, I would just be like a little scattered, right? Because I got a lot of stuff going on. So it just, I could have one of my team members do that for me and just be like, put this together. It would probably take them like a couple hours, right? But instead I was able to just go in and just do it. And then, I'm not bothering them to do something that,
sure,
they could be doing something else.
Sure.
That's one. That's just one.
That's one. And I think I want to emphasize the real value there was in the formatting, in the creation of
Yes.
the large sample of dates and the formatting of those. And then you have to go in there as a human who knows your calendar and strike some of those dates. But that's much easier than creating the entire thing from scratch.
Yeah, I also told it only include dates that I am available 2 days in a row. Like, so that they could book 2 days with me.
Okay.
Like, that was another way.
Okay, but hold on. So did it know your calendar?
No. So I just did like list me available dates and do it in 2-day increments. So it would be like Sunday and Monday. And I had a whole list of dates that I included from my tour spreadsheet. I just copy and pasted my tour and I inputted that. And because there were dates around that where it could include 2 days, but if it didn't know those dates, it wouldn't be able to. But it was just very nice for data entry. Like, it was just very nice to stay organized that way.
Very cool.
And then,
okay, what next?
The other way I used it, I launched this program with Olivia Smalley, OMG Artistry, my associate Bridget Reddington, and my associate Ashley Albert. We started this program called Educate with Influence. It's this amazing educator training for educators to build their following and be more effective in their marketing. And I built this whole program with them, and it's amazing. And I built the whole website. It took me a month to build this website. Sorry, my video. It took me a month to build this website, and it was beautiful. Like, my website is beautiful.
What did you use to build it?
Everybody, Kajabi. All of the copy I wrote, all of the course descriptions. Like, I wrote this beautiful website for our team, okay? And the reason I keep emphasizing that I wrote it is because it was freaking gorgeous. I proofread it myself. However, I took my entire website and I ran it through ChatGPT, just paragraph by paragraph. And I just wrote proofread and check for grammar, but don't change anything else. And it made everything so perfect and elevated. And I was like, I feel like I would have to pay someone so much money to do this, and it would take like a month to get it done.
So give us an example of some of the changes that it made. Is it simply grammatical errors? You misspelled something?
Yeah, grammatical errors, and just like if something sounds weird. Like, you know how sometimes you could type something, it could be like a super run-on sentence? Like, that's what it was. Like, a lot of it was just like, long-winded, right? And I was able to kind of take it and just run our site through it so it just sounded more polished and professional. It's like, it was our content, it was our marketing, but it just polished it for us. And I felt like so relieved that like I felt comfortable that our site is super professional and beautiful and it relays the information, right? I also had to rewrite some headlines. You know what I mean? It was like, I was like, rewrite this headline. I want it to sound more impactful. And I was like, write me 10 other options. And I put the headline in and it will generate like 10 other options for you to use.
Very interesting. Wow.
Yeah. It just is inspiring. Like, it's inspiring because it's just like, oh, it's like having a brainstorming session that would normally take 2 hours.
Yeah.
And just like inspire you with ideas.
So
sorry about this ray of light in the video.
Well, it's a little bit, what's the word? You're like a deity in the video. And the listeners, unless they're watching on YouTube, which they're going to be able to do, it looks like Gina, like Jesus has come down and is shining upon you because the rays of light coming in from the window behind you are divine.
It's too much. I'll go over here. That's better. Okay. That's better.
Okay, so I'm going to go to ChatGPT. I'm going to log in. They ask you to, sign up. Yeah,
you got to make an account.
Okay, I'm going to go there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have ChatGPT title this episode for us. Okay?
You know what you should do before you do that? You should upload like the whole transcript. because you could upload, if you transcribe this, you could upload it, swear to God, you could upload the transcription and then you could have it write you a description, write you a caption to market it. You can have it discuss in bullet points what we went over, and you could have it recommend titles for you.
Okay, that's fantastic, and we're going to do that. But of course, as we create the transcript, we don't have the transcript. So while we're live on the air here together, I'm going to type in, by the way, you just type in, you Google ChatGPT, right? And then it comes up, OpenAI, you click on it, you give yourself an account, it's free, put in your email, whatever. And then you get your little search box there, and I'm typing in, and correct me if you think I should change my query. Give me a title for a podcast episode about
Wait,
AI.
hold on. You should put @I am Gina Bianca, because it knows who I am.
Okay. How about this? Give me a title for a podcast episode about AI for hairdressers with
@I am Gina Bianca.
Okay, with I am Gina Bianca. I'm going to put us in there too, and the Hair Game Podcast.
Yeah, it will find who you are and give like a...
Okay, so I'm going to read it again. Give me a title for a podcast episode about AI for hairdressers with I am Gina Bianca and the Hair Game Podcast. Okay, here it comes. Revolutionizing the hair industry, AI's impact on hairdressing with I am Gina Bianca. I am Gina Bianca and the Hair Game Podcast. That's pretty good.
I think it's good.
I think it's
but
very good.
I think it would be better to have more info about like what was discussed.
Sure.
Because then it will kind of know more, and I would always ask it to generate 10 possible names.
Okay. So give me 10 titles. Give me 10 titles for a podcast episode about what? How AI can improve...
Streamline your business.
Okay, about how AI can streamline a salon business. How about that?
Yeah.
Is that good? Mm-hmm. A salon business. Should I leave in for hairdressers?
You could. Because it's just a title. It's going to only be a couple of words.
Okay. I clicked save and submit. Okay, it says, sure, here are 10 possible titles for a podcast episode about AI for stream. Okay, Number 1, revolutionizing salon operations, the power of AI. Number 2,
Facts.
AI in the salon industry, opportunities and challenges. Ooh. How AI is changing the way we manage and grow salons.
Love that.
Transforming customer experiences with AI in salons. How about this one? Maximizing efficiency and profitability with AI tools for hairdressers.
100%.
Okay, I'm not going to read them all. Okay, so I think the listeners get the point. That's pretty awesome.
It's amazing. And, you know, I want to just go back to like, you know, there are some naysayers. Like there are people in the industry who will say like, it's not a good idea to use AI. It takes the human out of everything, or it's inauthentic, or it's not genuine. And I think, like, personally, like, I understand, like, people could have that mindset of anything with artificial intelligence. But I do feel like if there's an amazing tool that could save you time and I'm using it, why can't you use it too? And I feel like some people might maybe just don't want you to have it because like maybe it will help you grow to where it may threaten them. I don't know. I feel like there's like, you know, some people don't want you to have this because they don't want you to have the opportunity. And I know that sounds like a little weird, but like, I don't know. I hear people say it and I'm like, but I know you're using it. So why are you telling people it's bad? Like, why? So like, I'm using it constantly, and I want to give a tip for using it. but I'm using it constantly. So if I'm able to bang out 3 ebooks and you're having a hard time putting together an idea for something, why would I not give you this tool? You know, it's like I feel like it is essential to share this to elevate the beauty industry. And that's my mission. It always has been. Sure. And that's why I wanted to get on your show and talk about it, because I feel like your audience would like it. And I just wanted to talk about it like with somebody who would like, you know, be into it. Yeah. So, you know, totally I want people to have this tool. I think that it's amazing. And I think, you know, if you really learn how to prompt, which I think will be an incredible skill set to develop over the next few years, is like how to prompt properly. I think if you could really learn how to utilize it, it will buy back a lot of your time and help you stand out and be organized.
You know what a Luddite is, do you?
What is that?
A Luddite. The Luddites, a long time ago, I don't know, 100 years ago, this was a group of people who didn't want to use the new technology at the time. And there might be a couple listeners who are like, oh yeah, it was like the loom or whatever to make pants or whatever. But it was a new technology to do something much better. And I think it actually did have to do with apparel. But this was the Luddites. And so since then, that term was used to define those people who rejected any kind of new technology as being threatening and having a deleterious effect on society at large. And of course, this has been going on way before the Luddites were called Luddites. People were afraid of the latest tool that the caveman had in order to, you know, kill the animal to eat it or whatever. And this will always be the case. And a lot of people, I mean, how many people were dogging on social media, you know, in the beginning, and you know, refused to use it. And I'm not implying, by the way, that social media doesn't have any downside to it. It has plenty of downsides to it. But
there's a downside to everything, though.
Yes. And of course, it's up to us to use things for positive or negative. And how are you going to know unless you try it? Certainly something that everybody should go on and play with.
Yeah, and people will use ChatGPT for evil. They will. That's the human condition.
We're humans.
Just like people use social media for evil. Just like people use a car for evil or a gun for evil. Like people will use a tool to be evil if they're evil. Right. And I think that that's just something you can't really hide from. And what you can do is do your best to like learn and educate yourself. And if the tool is available and it will benefit you, then use it. And if you're not into it, then don't use it.
Right. Now,
but I wanted to put out there because there is, oh, sorry.
Please.
Go ahead. I was going to say that the tip that I want to give you with ChatGPT is it's not a copy paste type of deal, because some people say like not to use it for your Instagram captions, that it will take away like your voice. And I agree with that. I had ChatGPT rewrite something for me, and I even went as far as to say, I actually took an old Instagram caption that I wrote, and it's totally my voice. It's like that, you know, I don't give a fuck voice. It's like, I could say fuck on here, right?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like this, I don't give a fuck voice, like elevate your business, like clients who disrespect you and who won't pay your prices, like, you know, you got to move on, or you have to add value. And it's like one of those captions that was like super like me. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I put in ChatGPT and I was like, analyze this and describe Gina's voice to me. And it was like, Gina's voice is very empowering and very like concise and blunt. And it was saying all these things. I'm like, yeah, that's my voice, right? And then Amazing. I wrote like, save Gina's voice. I was like, save Gina's voice and remember it for future prompts. So I was like, okay, cool. It has my voice. Yeah. So I was like, cool. It has my voice.
Within your account.
Within
so you search with it. What's that?
Within each chat. So when you open ChatGPT, you have your chat and then it saves all of your chats. So right now, if I open my Educate with Influence chat and I'm like, write me a caption for Educate with Influence, it will know everything about Educate with Influence because it remembers everything in the chat. So every new chat you create is like a blank slate. But if you want to continue using a chat and you like, I have one for my Hairstylist Hustle Tour for Educate with Influence. I'm writing an ebook on how to create a thriving salon culture. So I'm able to like revisit those chats and it already has all of the information. So I had to analyze my voice. And then I also created an audience, a custom audience. I was like, I want to speak to an audience of hairstylists who want to elevate, who want to make more money, who want more time with their family, who want to work less and make more, and who may not have the confidence to raise their prices, who maybe need to develop better boundaries. I'm just spitballing here. I'm like putting in the audience that I want. I'm like, their pain points are this. They really enjoy this. Like the same way you do an ICA, ideal client avatar. So I'm like, remember this audience. And I put in quotes. I was like, as business building audience or whatever, because that's usually what I talk the most about. And so I asked ChatGPT, I was like, write me a caption or write me something in Gina's voice talking to this audience. And it did it, Eric, but it did not sound like me. It was not right. So I was like, I immediately was like, I'm not going to use this. I could, but my audience knows my voice. My audience reads things in my voice. So, and I think part of it is the podcast, you know, so I cannot lose my voice. Right. And I think that's something that AI is not going to take away. Like you're not going to lose your voice unless you lose your voice. So instead, what I've been doing is I've been just like, cause I love to write. So I will just write straight from the heart. And for like 20 minutes, it will be not proofread, run on sentences, complete shit, right? But my idea and my voice and my terminology is there. And then I use the proofread and check grammar. And it makes it perfect. So I prefer that over having it use your voice. If you're doing general copy, I don't see it being a problem. But if you're trying to like my ebooks are always in my voice. When I will literally just write for like 40 minutes. Like I wrote my whole salon owner story because I'm doing this new ebook with the how to build a thriving salon culture. I just wrote from my heart for 40 minutes. It looked like shit. I ran it through ChatGPT. It was so long I had to run it through like 6 times. Okay. Because there was a character limit. And it was so good. I still have my husband proofread it. And he's like, I don't like this. And I was like, well, that's what I said. And he was just like, well, say something else. Yeah. You know, but it's like, I don't know if I would try to totally automate it, but it's really good to kind of know like the type of voice you want. You could even ask it to make say this in the voice of Donald Trump. You could say like anything and it will be like
best book in the world.
It'll be like, this is magnificent. It said tremendous like 80 times. Yeah. It was funny. You could be like, say this in the voice of Lady Gaga and it will write you a song.
Very interesting. It's so fascinating. So I just typed in, as we were talking, give me a list of potential clients for hairdresser services in Woodland Hills, California. Now, that was not specific enough because it gave me 10 categories of people, you know, women and men of all ages who want to maintain. I was actually looking for specific names and just to see if it actually has, you know, a database of actual residents in California. But, you know, that's just an example of something you could play with.
That's really cool. Yeah. And another thing I used it for my tour, I'm doing 23 cities and I needed to provide my host salons with some captions and some hashtags and all of that. So I just wrote, give me the top 5 hashtags for hairstylists in San Diego, California. And I actually did that. I was like, give me the top 5 hashtags for hairstylists in these areas. And I just copy pasted the whole list from my spreadsheet and it literally did a perfect list of all of them. And some of them were weird. I was like, I'm not going to use this one because you always have to check it over. It's not a copy paste. If you use it for copy paste and try to streamline or automate completely, I feel like you will lose that. You definitely will lose authenticity and nobody is going to like it.
I mean, just to be clear, you can copy and paste into whatever you want, but you have to edit it. You have to read it, use your judgment. Right?
You don't have to, but I would strongly recommend you do. Like people are going to do whatever they want. I felt like even though I prompted it perfectly prompted it perfectly. It didn't sound like me. I was like, this is not,
Sure.
It's too chipper. Like, I'm not a chipper person. I'm more like direct.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, hairstylist friends. I was like, I don't know. It was weird.
Sure.
So you do have to like look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a brand new tool. And well, I say brand new. They've been working on this shit for, 10 or 20 years. But, this is one of the first times when it's been made available to the consuming public in this form, which is what makes it special. But it's very early is my point. And so it's going to change. It's going to improve. They make that very clear. And it's very, very fun to play with at worst. And at best, it's something that could be very, very beneficial.
Even if you just use it for proofreading and grammar checking, like I like to think I'm a professional person, but I'm a little rough around the edges. And like, I get a freaking 2 million emails a day, and I got everyone asking me questions 24/7. And sometimes I'm very short with people. Like, I'm very short with people sometimes, and it's a negative of mine. And what I've been doing, I had to write an email about something, and I was like, write me an email to blah, 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 blah about X, Y, and Z. Make sure you include this, 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 and this, and make sure it has a warm and thankful tone. And it wrote me this like beautiful email, and I literally copy pasted it and sent it because it had all the information I needed. And I was just like that much more professional, you know?
Right.
And I'm sure it probably shocked that person. They're like, she's not writing me back in 2 sentences.
Right.
But like, I can go into ChatGPT and I can just like spitball what I want, and and when I'm not worried about it being perfect, I could just speak from the heart. Right. It's more effective. I can say exactly what I need to say, and I'm like, okay, rewrite this so it's professional.
Right.
It's just very nice.
Okay, so I wrote into ChatGPT, write me a message to my hair color clients encouraging them to come into the salon. Dear valued hair color, and that was pretty simple. Like, I think I'm doing this
basic.
So basic. I'm doing this on the fly. I could have said something more along the lines of what you just said to the audience, which was, be professional or be this or be that. But I just wrote something very general, and it gave me back. Dear valued hair color client, I hope this message finds you well as we navigate through these challenges. Like right out of the gate, it's like, what? As we navigate through these challenging times, I wanted to reach out and let you know that our salon is still open.
Oh my God.
And fully operational, adhering to all the latest health and safety protocols recommended by local.
If ChatGPT thinks we're in troubled times, I think it's actually only pulling from 2021. I think the new version's coming out. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't.
100%.
I think it's kind of old.
Yes. So that's a very important thing. And they've been saying this publicly that a lot of this is not updated. And that's why you have they have all these disclaimers like, don't freak out if it's not perfect, because it is pulling from in the past. And so that's why you're getting all these like COVID era phrases in here. Safety protocols, latest health recommended by local authorities. It says
we are still open. It just sent me.
As a hair color client, I know how important it is for you to maintain the vibrancy and health of your hair. That's why I wanted to personally invite you to come into the salon and experience the expertise and care of our stylists. That's not bad. I mean, if somebody's like super professional and formal.
I don't think that's bad, but go ahead.
And of course, this is for somebody who's like, I don't know where to begin, right? This is,
yes.
And then it goes on. We understand that the pandemic has been stressful for everyone, but we want to ensure you that we're taking all necessary measures to ensure, okay, blah, 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 blah. So, I'm just giving everybody an example of what can happen here. Like you could probably say, or you tell me, Gina, so I could change this query to say something like,
write one.
Mention nothing about what? Safety, COVID, or what?
You could tell it not to say anything. Let me write one.
Okay, in the query, can I make multiple sentences? Like,
yeah, period, you could put whatever you want. You could write a book in there.
All right. Don't mention COVID, pandemic, safety protocols, or the fact that we went out of business. I'm just kidding. All right. So let's see what it gives me now. Dear valued client, we hope you're doing well and enjoying the beautiful weather. It's assuming that the weather's been beautiful. We wanted to remind you that it's been a while since we've seen you at the salon, and we miss you! Exclamation point. That's kind of nice. Our team of expert hair colorists are here to help you achieve the perfect shade that complements your skin tone and makes you feel confident and beautiful. As we enter the summer season, it's the perfect time to refresh your hair color and add some highlights or balayage to your locks. Our salon uses only the highest quality hair color products to ensure your hair looks and feels amazing. And don't forget that our salon also offers additional hair services such as haircut. So why don't you book an appointment with us today? We'd love to catch up and help you achieve your hair goals. That's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And then it even has best regards, and it tells you where to put in your name and the salon name.
Yep.
Okay, so you're writing something now.
Yep, I'm just feverishly writing. All typos, run-on sentences. I said, write me an email to my clients who I haven't seen in 90 days and encourage them to book an appointment. Give them a 20% off discount for blonding services that will include an amazing conditioning treatment. Mention that all of my services include a blow dry and a haircut. Let them know that I know they get busy, but making time for themselves is a huge part of mental health and self-care. Let them know my salon is a safe space for them and that I miss them. Let them know I'm also offering a new keratin treatment that only takes an additional 30 minutes and is perfect for summer to fight frizz. Keep the message to under 150 words and use the code. I think that's good. Okay, let's see what it says. 150 words.
Yeah,
Subject.
That's not a lot. Not a lot.
Yeah.
You use probably more than 150 words right there.
Oh, yeah. But see, that's what I like to do. I like to just spitball it. Mm-hmm. And go for it. What I think this will eliminate the most of is writer's block. Like people who are in a terrible, like if you're like depressed and you're having a hard time keeping up with your content or whatever, and you just need something to like spark an inspiration, like it will help you so much. So this is what it said. It still looks long. Hold on. Write this shorter, 100 words. I wrote rods, not even words, and it knew what I meant. I feel like my brain goes faster than my fingers sometimes. All right, subject, we miss you. It gave me a subject line too. Missed you, enjoy 20% off plus summer keratin treatment. We miss you. It's been too long since we saw you at the salon. Remember, self-care is vital for mental health. To help you prioritize it, we're offering an exclusive 20% off on blonding services now with an amazing conditioning treatment. Our services always include a blow dry and a haircut. Exciting news, we've introduced a new summer keratin treatment that fights frizz in just 30 minutes, perfect for the season. Our salon is a safe space for you, and we'd love to have you back. Book your appointment now as spots are limited. Let us bring that healthy glow that makes you feel fabulous. Looking forward to seeing you soon.
Unbelievable.
I would say rewrite this to 100 words, include a call to action, and only mention keratin once.
Yeah.
Like I would prompt it to be better.
But of course you can make edits according to your voice and how you feel and, take out exclamation points or add exclamation points and all that. Yes. Mm-hmm. But I mean, totally. That's 95% right there. And you just kind of shine it up a little bit and that's good to go. Yeah. And then most booking softwares have that feature where you could email clients who haven't seen you in 90 to 120 days. So if you're looking like your books are a little empty, like why not run that? Me and my assistant, my brand manager, Bridget, we always say run it. Like anytime we come up with a good idea, we're just like run it. It's like, you're slow. Look at your books. You're like, dude, like where is everybody? Run it. Run a promo. Awesome. People are like, don't discount. Run a promo. Like 20% off is better than $0 and stress. Just run it. Okay, so this is so fun. I could do this with you all day on air here, but unfortunately we can't. So any final words for the listeners?
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening and spending your time. I'm always honored when people spend their time listening to me and my education. And thank you for having me on the podcast. If you're a stylist who wants to try ChatGPT and it's your first time using it, use it as your assistant or a sounding board. Like if you have a client who's unhappy and emails you or message you, put their email in ChatGPT and ask it, write me a professional response to this client. It can streamline your customer service. You don't have to ask 50 people for advice. You could literally get an amazing answer in 20 seconds. Salon owners, this could help you in writing policy, proofreading, help you with your training programs, help you write job descriptions and job ads. Educators, it could help you in all the ways that I listed. And, content creators, it could help you build all of these amazing content calendars. You just have to learn to prompt it. So I'm teaching a new class coming up. It's called the Hairstylist Hustle. It's going to be in 23 cities. You could hit ginabianca.com for all of the info on that. We will be discussing AI, but we're mainly going to be talking about how to become a recession-proof hairstylist and how to grow your business. I'm also releasing an ebook on ChatGPT and a few ways to use it, and some more ebooks coming up soon. So I hope to see you guys throughout the rest of my education. You could always follow me on Instagram at I am Gina Bianca.
Your calendar for the Hairstylist Hustle is very impressive. I mean, I'm looking at this thing and I'm starting to sweat looking at the different dates, how many dates you have on there. You definitely are hustling, and people are appreciating it. The community is appreciating it. I'm appreciating it. So thank you very much, Gina, and can't wait till I see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad we could bring this conversation to hairstylists, and hopefully they could use this tool to help elevate their business.
Yep, totally.